Let's go.
Hey, welcome to the Work Hard, Play Hard, and Give Back, a real estate podcast. I'm Mike Litzner, your host. We're here at the studio at American Homes in Franklin Square. And today we have none other than the CEO of Coldwell Banker Affiliates Worldwide, Jason Waugh. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the opportunity. Great to see you. Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you. Jason comes to us all the way from Seattle, Washington, home of the Seahawks. How excited are you about the Seahawks making the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl, fourth time in, I think, the last less than 15 years. So it's an exciting time in the Emerald City. Got a great team. 38-year-old head coach, which is amazing.
Yeah, and a former New York Jet quarterback there. So us New Yorkers are jealous there. Well, by the time this episode airs, we'll know whether or not Seahawks actually are champions or not. So good luck to the Seahawks for my friend over here.
Thank you.
So Jason, we're going to lean in a little bit here. So business-wise, you manage day-to-day operations of an organization that has over 100,000 real estate agents in 40-plus countries around the world, right? As president of Coldwell Banker, what's the biggest challenge in keeping such a huge network executing at a high level?
I've been at Coldwell Banker now 2 years, 3 months. Now, this will be my 33rd year in the business, so I'm not new to the industry, obviously.
Right.
But one of the greatest opportunities and also challenges of any large enterprise or organization is how do you make it feel small and more interconnected? And I've focused on that with our team internally since day one that I've been here. Yeah. And this business, as you know, you've been, I think you got licensed at 18 and I was 19. So we both have been around the block.
Yeah.
This is really about relationships and about people. And I still remember where I was when my dad told me, and I was in high school.
Right.
And I don't remember the conversation before or after, but I remember these words. He said, as long as you surround yourself with people that are better than you and smarter than you, it'll always work out for you.
Yeah, great advice.
So I've been very fortunate in a prior life to be surrounded by really talented people, more talented than me. Inherited a great team here at Coldwell Banker.
Yeah.
And so collectively, we just, work really close and collaborate. How do we make this network feel smaller and more interconnected? And everything from our personal reach outs we send out, I get a list every Monday of all the closings network wide the prior week.
Right.
And reach out and congratulate those agents and usually CC the owners as well.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them. Especially the nice high-priced ones. It's always good to see that, 2.1 or 2.5.
Yeah. But we're really focused on really building that culture where it's a smaller network than we just signed a master franchise in Germany. So that puts us at 50 countries and territories, proud to say. So obviously have some great growth momentum. But we're really hyper-focused on how do you keep that larger network feel small and more interconnected.
So how do you maintain a consistent blue brand culture across such different markets?
Well, I guess I'm a creature of habit, and I think consistency and routine is really the keys to success. But this is really the most entrepreneurial industry. So you have to acknowledge and recognize that people are drawn to real estate because there's no limits. I mean, we can impose whatever ceiling that we want on ourselves. And so while we certainly, and Brandon Newman, who's our VP of marketing, he likes to refer to freedom within a framework.
Right.
And so certainly we have a legacy and a brand story that is really rich here at Coldwell Banker. And we obviously want to preserve and protect that. I think people are drawn to the organization because of that.
It's 116 years now?
120 this year.
120, okay, I got to keep up here.
Yeah, 120 birthday this year. So, we certainly want to continue to protect and preserve the legacy and the brand story and all the great attributes of that. But also acknowledge that entrepreneurs want to, build their own businesses. And so we have this saying, freedom within a framework. And so we want to make sure that we support people in a way that they can achieve their personal and professional goals, but then collectively really protect the brand reputation.
So this one's a little bit off script because now you got me thinking here. So
Good, let's go.
I know you're Seattle. I'm New York. So we kind of have we have our own unique niches in the marketplace. Yet real estate is real estate.
Yeah.
How much different is real estate, say, in Germany, or France or England, for instance? I know we're in those countries as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how much difference
the process is totally different. I mean,
Yeah.
just the sales process. Imagine, no MLS.
Yeah.
Unlike here domestically. So how you collaborate with other brokers, how you market properties, the transactional process. I mean, it's in a lot of ways night and day differences.
Yeah.
But it's still about bringing people together.
Yeah.
And getting consumers together on a transaction and navigating that negotiation. And so that part of it is, knows no boundaries.
Yeah.
But the mechanics of it are dramatically different.
Nuanced.
Yeah.
As you say.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, Jason, you came from Berkshire Hathaway. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And now you run the entire Coldwell Banker affiliate franchise. What's the biggest difference or aha moment you got when you came over to Coldwell Banker?
That's a great question, Mike.
Thank you.
And so this would be my 33rd year.
Yeah.
And so 30 years with one organization,
Yeah.
which was family owned. It was an independent, started in Portland, Oregon in 1955.
Okay.
Stan Wiley Realtors. My father ended up acquiring that company.
Okay.
Fast forward, we became a Prudential franchise in the mid 90s.
Okay.
Prudential sold.
Yeah, I remember
And
those years.
was
yeah.
acquired by Home Services America and renamed Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. So 30 years, and as a small independent to then a large franchise, and then made the move. And it was interesting. I just got a call from a corporate recruiter about this particular position, and I guess at the time I didn't actually realize I was in need of a new challenge.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm a complacent personality at all.
Right. No, I see that.
But I certainly had a routine down, and had been in the same capacity for well over a decade. Okay. And so I think for me it was really about timing and opportunity, and I think that's when those two things align, magic can happen.
Yeah.
If the timing's right but the opportunity's not there, or vice versa. And in this situation, I think timing and opportunity just align. Ultimately, I mean, I love the Coldwell Banker brand story. It's
the legacy.
It's and blue happens to be my favorite color.
Yes,
that doesn't hurt. But I ended up just really liking the people. It wasn't the tools. It wasn't the systems. It wasn't any. I mean, it was certainly the brand and the story, coupled with the people. Yeah. And then timing and opportunity aligned, and it was a very, very difficult and emotional decision. But one that I have no regrets about, and have enjoyed every minute of it. And the network has really, really embraced me with open arms, and I couldn't have asked for a better situation.
All right, that's fantastic. So I don't know if I can really ask this question either, but I'm going for it anyway. So Berkshire tends to position themselves as more the upscale broker, and yet, our company, American Homes, came from a different franchise to Coldwell Banker, and one of the things we like is the global luxury, the ability to maneuver in higher end markets under the blue of Coldwell Banker. Who does global luxury better?
Coldwell Banker.
All right, I like that.
Here's what I believe the difference is between even sister brands within our own holding company. Caldwell Banker is relevant to every consumer at every price point.
That's correct. Yeah,
I think that's the main differentiator between some of the sister brands and certainly competitors out there. We can compete at the highest level at any price point. Yeah. And where there's some organizations that pride themselves maybe in one particular price point or niche.
Right.
But Caldwell Banker has a foundation and reputation that it's relevant at every price point for every consumer, both domestically and internationally.
I like that because I see that and I kind of live that. So being in New York, we have some of the highest priced properties, in the country. So we have some unique opportunities, but there's a lot of business to be done with the first time buyer and the move up.
Yeah.
So I like these niche markets where I don't want to give up on the first time buyers. We have a lot of agents who excel in that area, and yet the global luxury of those properties, those referrals come in. We've had houses, for $8, $9, $10, $11 million, and it's an interesting opportunity, a very different way to approach it. But it's the Coldwell Banker brand helps us maneuver whether it's the high end or the starter home. So I do like that. And we have commercial, we have our rental division, we have our foreclosure division. So it's interesting the way we scale to meet all markets instead of just being pigeonholed, so to speak. So.
Well, as a business owner, the more diversified you are, the better the business is.
Yeah.
Because it can weather different market cycles, different economies. And I believe that's one thing about Caldwell Bankers, just we're really diversified.
Yes.
And we can play in every arena at the highest level, compete and win, and create an exceptional real estate experience for every consumer.
Yes, it's allowed us to be a well-rounded company, as you said.
Absolutely.
Which is great. So you talk about Coldwell Banker taking our unfair share of business. What should your affiliates be doing to help our agents and teams succeed?
There's no secrets, and this. There's no secrets to this business. But I do believe if you were to, and I believe in keeping things simple.
Yeah.
Boil it down to 3 best practices. 1, if you don't list, you won't last. You've got to get comfortable interviewing for the job of marketing and selling somebody's home.
Yeah.
Or property, whether it's commercial or residential.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, I'm not saying that it's a more rewarding experience on the list side versus the buy side. It's really more a time management
Yes,
thing. You can just manage more transactions and create an exceptional real estate experience.
Yeah.
Number 2, contacts cause contracts.
Right.
There's no secret. I mean, those that talk to more people tend to do more business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then lastly, which I think is really, really critical in business today, is fortunes in the follow-up. Okay. There's so much competition out there in terms of, the internet and threats to getting in between us and our customers.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we do not stay hyper-focused on staying in touch and feeding those relationships consistently, these disruptors or these threats are going to take those relationships that should be ours and doing business with us. And so fortune's in the follow-up. And there's a great story that I'll never, ever forget. It was a broker in my former company, a very, very good producer, big personality, gets invited out to this listing appointment, shows up after some pleasantries with the homeowners. They tour the home together. He notices all these little items from this neighborhood local broker who he knows, and she enjoys a really good reputation. Goes through the presentation in the interview. They're about to end the meeting, and they're walking to the front door. He, being who he is, turns around and says, "Thank you so much for the opportunity to interview for the job. I gotta ask though, why aren't you working with so and so? It seems like you're really impressed with her." And they said to him, "Well, we do like her. We're not sure she likes us. We never heard from her again."
Wow.
And it was just that kind of slap in the face reminder that it's really about the staying in touch and fortunes in the follow-up. And you've just got to be really, really disciplined with your routine and consistent in terms of feeding those relationships. And now, especially with, the market, certainly there's market signals and trends that we're about to be in a new market. And the best time to take your unfair share is in either a contracting or flat market.
Right.
Because when it starts to turn and appreciate, as they say, when the tide rises, it lifts all boats.
Correct.
It levels a playing field. Now is the time to take your unfair share, but you've got to, have those conversations and stay in touch.
It's funny, Tommy and I have this conversation about the difficult markets. When it turns difficult is always when we've grown most effectively. So even though the market's down and you could, like I said, do maybe less units or what have you, I think agents seek brokers that have better tools, systems, and support when things are difficult.
Yeah.
You know, when the market was high flying, like in 21,
Right.
and you know, as they say, you only needed a balloon to sell a house at an open house. You know, how much value does the broker bring? I mean, it does, and I think there's some value long term with the consistency.
Yeah.
But agents sometimes will go for the shiny object or whatever that may be. But at these times, we've been growing market share.
Yep.
So, and it's interesting that you say that. So I feel that on the downturn that we actually grow. So when it pivots to a better market, which I do agree, 26 is going to be a strong market. We tend to almost ricochet out of the
Right.
low market and take off. But people are looking like, okay, well, they made it on the upswing. No, we laid the groundwork. We put the foundation in when the market was down.
Yeah.
And you reap the results when the market comes back.
100%. So we've both seen a lot of different cycles in markets in our careers. So what do you attribute? Why is it, in your opinion, when it's a flat or contracting market, why is that the prime opportunity to take market share and grow market share? What's your opinion?
Again, I think when it comes back to is agents are fickle sometimes. You know, again, they sometimes will go for these, you know, the newest brand that gets that little honeymoon thing. They come to the marketplace. They've got a trendy, you know, logo because they have one letter backwards or something like that. I don't know what it is. And, you know, all of a sudden they get popular, and then agents find out quickly that the fundamentals don't go away.
Right.
You have a broker that has experience and understands the functionality of an agent and the process, and they deliver tools, systems, and support, you know, that meet the needs, that help elevate every agent. You know, all of a sudden when things are tough, agents look around and they start gravitating back to the strong brokers. So I think that's where the opportunity is too. So if you're an active broker and you're paying attention to your marketplace, there's always going to be more opportunities in the down market, I feel.
I agree. And, you know, I talk about this a lot, that what separates success and struggle is what I refer to as our internal map.
Right.
Mindset, attitude, perspective. A mentor of mine told me so many different times in my career, control your controllables. Right. So I've learned to really rapidly, if I can't impact or influence an outcome, I don't give it any time or attention.
Right.
Total control over our mindset, attitude, perspective. So how we show up. And I think that's what really separates people, especially in flat or contracting markets. They just have a better mindset, a better attitude, a better perspective, and then they take other people's business. Take your unfair share.
Right, there you go. That's the opportunity. All right, I'm going to pivot here a little bit. So under your stewardship in Coldwell Banker, you've launched the AHA, Agents Helping Agents. What is one common denominator you've noticed among the top 1% of earners?
Mindset, attitude, perspective. It's now listen. Let's be honest. We all have our moments. We all have our days.
Yes, we're all human.
But you know, at a kind of macro level, they just see opportunity rather than obstacle.
Right.
And then there's this attitude of gratitude, just so grateful for the opportunities. So we hosted, and so Agents Helping Agents, and that's an initiative that's aligned with how do you make a large network feel small and more interconnected. So it's the third Thursday of every month that we host that, and it's a casual conversation with two Coldwell Banker agents from across the country. Well, we just had one last Thursday. And both these agents, one from Texas and one from right on the Minnesota-Wisconsin border.
Okay.
The day we actually had our conversation, it was minus 13 degrees. So you could stay in and make a lot of calls. But she closed 93 units last year alone.
Good for her.
And, you know, she just has, and both of them, they just have this attitude of gratitude. They love the business. They're enthusiastic. I think that's a big, people want to work with people that are excited about what they do, that are excited and grateful about the opportunity to help someone navigate the process. It's probably the most significant financial process that they'll make. And so those are some of the attributes that I recognize from people that are really operating at a high level.
Yeah.
They just certainly they know their craft.
Yes.
I mean, they're well informed, they're well educated, they know their numbers.
Yes.
But they just have this enthusiastic attitude about the business and the opportunity, and then they're grateful for the experiences.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to work with someone who's self-entitled. They're entitled to your business whether they show up or not.
Yeah.
They feel like it or not. So,
Yeah.
So I think that you've hit that nail right on the head. So we want to lean into this. You've often been quoted. It's John Maxwell's change is inevitable. Growth is optional. In the current era of AI and tech, where is the most optional growth happening for agents?
Another really great question, Mike. I think
I got a great team there. They make this job is to make me look smart.
Yeah, I think with AI, what I've observed from folks is that are really kind of accelerated their kind of trajectory in their businesses, leveraging AI, is they're just not afraid of it. I mean, just jump into the deep end of the pool, if you would, and embrace that. But it's really about creating efficiency for our business.
Right.
It's really about creating efficiencies because there's so much administrative or behind the scenes just process, the mechanics of a real estate deal, and just managing your own business. So how can we leverage AI to create efficiencies in the background to re-leverage our time and focus on customers and relationships?
Yeah.
To me, that's where I see people really leveraging AI to the fullest. They've figured out the systems and how they can create efficiencies operationally to then repurpose their time back into people and relationships.
So I think that feeds into the agents helping agents. When you see an agent doing, one house a month or one doing 93 in Minnesota. So there's got to be some efficiencies in there.
Yeah.
That's what agents should be focusing on 100%.
Yeah.
I always say that agents are only in position to make money when they're face-to-face with a buyer or seller. Everything else they do is nonsense, right? There is some nonsense that's necessary. Like I'm preparing for a face-to-face meeting with a seller or a buyer.
Yeah.
So being prepared is important. So that's necessary. Or prospecting, trying to find that next one. Beyond those two things, everything else really is nonsense.
Yeah.
So
well, my number 2, contacts cause contracts.
Yes.
If you're not making contacts, then the contracts aren't going to follow.
Right. So obviously there's been tremendous industry news. So we have had the massive merger created through Compass International, or creating Compass International Holdings. What does this new chapter mean for the legacy and unique North Star identity of Coldwell Banker?
Well, first of all, I think consolidation has happened across a lot of industries. Real estate's playing catch up.
Yeah.
And so I think the consolidation was inevitable. At some point, there was going to be a deal done. And who were going to be the players, though?
Yeah.
And this is the deal that got done. It was the 2 biggest players in the industry.
Yeah, it was.
So certainly exciting times for all of us that are on the inside of this. To me, one of the most valuable outcomes is this commitment to preserving the independence and of each of these brands.
Right.
I mean, you don't do something like this to then harm those brands.
Right.
And so really you've taken ultimately the 2 premier organizations in this space, brought them together, and now you go through the process of what's the best of these enterprises to then create this new company.
Yeah.
And there's a real commitment to preserving the legacy, the brands across each of these brands.
So how many brands is now under the Compass International Holdings?
So 10 brands.
10 different real estate franchise brands.
Yeah. And so for our ecosystem, and when I say our Caldwell Banker ecosystems is not that dramatically different. We had a holding company, a parent company called Anywhere Real Estate.
Right.
They operated 7 brands.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a very similar ecosystem.
Yes, that's correct.
A little bit newer for Compass International Holdings.
Yes.
But so far, very, very impressed with all the talent there, and again, combining the best talent in the industry of the 2 best organizations or biggest organizations in the space is incredibly exciting. I mean, if you think about opportunities just as a byproduct of size and scale.
Right.
I mean,
right.
this industry has not seen anything like this transaction.
Is it true that we're looking at a combined maybe 30% market share across the entire United States out of all 50 states? Is that in the ballpark?
I'm hesitant to answer that because I'm not sure. It certainly fluctuates. I mean, we
Of
got
course.
some markets that are probably north of that and some markets that are south of that. But that's, that's probably a neighborhood that's pretty close.
Yeah. So it's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is whenever there's change announced, there's always fear. And then there's also the segment of the industry that tries to manipulate or create a narrative. So it was interesting. I got approached by agents who were being aggressively recruited from one of our competitors who's an independent, spinning the fact that we're all losing the Coldwell Banker brand and we're going to be forced to become Compass. And I'm like, first of all, I have a franchise agreement with Coldwell Banker, so right. I don't believe, and that they're taking that away. Plus the value in the legacy that's been created for, as we discussed earlier, 120 years.
Yeah.
So do you see the commitment to the brand from the top leadership in the organization?
Robert has been very consistent since day one of this about preserving the autonomy and independence of each of these brands.
Right.
And so that is, everybody's marching forward under that direction.
Yeah. So now under the merger, most of the top brokerage franchises will be under the same umbrella. So why would someone choose Coldwell Banker instead of another Compass International Holdings brand?
Why does a home seller pick their agent? Why does a buyer select the agent that they work with?
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's really going to boil down to the people. Certainly you need the systems. Like as a business, we want to equip our real estate professionals with best-in-class resources to deliver an exceptional real estate experience.
But at the end of the day, it's execution.
It's execution.
Right.
You got to really focus on a person, whether it's somebody that's joining Coldwell Banker as a real estate professional, or they're buying a franchise, or deciding to renew a franchise.
Right.
What is important to them? I mean, our job, and when I say our job at Coldwell Banker, and at least on the affiliate side, we've got this primary customer that's the broker owner, secondary customer that's the agent, and then the third customer is the consumer. Yeah. And really it's about what are the challenges, opportunities, problems maybe that you're trying to answer, and do we have the best solutions? And I believe we do. I believe we have the best solutions at Coldwell Banker, and so then it's really just about aligning with the right partnership.
Yeah, it's almost like a waterfall effect. It's like you're saying, like, we have to help the brokers help their agents help their customers. Yeah, ultimately, they're helping the buyers and sellers out there.
Right.
But because they're better served if our agents are equipped with the tools to be effective and efficient, and deliver on their promises. So
I just checked out of a JW Marriott here.
Yeah.
And I was walking down the hallway, and it showed kind of the history along the wall. And there was this quote by JW Marriott Jr. If we take care of the employees will take care of the customers, and the customers will keep coming back.
Right.
I mean, those relationships are all interconnected.
Yeah.
So our relationship with our broker owners is interconnected to create an exceptional real estate experience for our agents.
Right.
Together, we collaborate to create an exceptional real estate experience for the consumer.
Right.
And so you take care of the primary customer, the secondary customers, and the third customer is all taken care of.
Yeah. So Compass has made the biggest investment in technology in the industry by far. How are they making that tech available to the brands and their agents to more efficiently and effectively help them sell more real estate?
Robert has been committed to ensuring that all the brands under this new co will have the same offerings.
Right.
And so from a timetable perspective, I can't address that now.
Right. It's very early in the process.
Yeah. I mean, what are we, 2 weeks? 2 weeks post-closing?
Yeah.
But he has been committed to ensuring that each brand has those same offerings.
Right.
And you know as well as I do, you could have the greatest offerings if you don't use it.
Right.
Somebody's always asked me, "What's the best CRM?" I'm like, the best CRM is the one you'll use.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah. So we're gonna be able to provide the best in class tools and resources.
Yeah.
It's still somewhat dependent on people, engaging with it and using the product.
So I want to pivot a little bit at this point in our episode, but before we do, I want to remind our audience, if you like what we're doing here, you like what you're seeing, please remember to like and subscribe. We'd love to have you at future episodes. And don't forget to wait for the end. We have the drop the mic question, which is always a fun thing, a little left field.
I'm ready for you, Mike.
There we go. All right, so Jason, we like to pivot at this point of the episode and talk a little bit about, play hard, the human side of it. So family is clearly your why when you're off the clock. What is your favorite way to spend quality time with your kids, right? You have four daughters, correct?
We have five girls.
5 girls, even...
Teens.
Oh, my God.
19 to 13. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's your favorite thing to do, spend quality time with the kids?
Well, they're all very, very active. So we got our first went off to college. So she's a freshman at University of San Diego. Really proud of her. And so the 4 at home are very active. So we're in the middle of cheer competition, dance competition, club soccer, club softball.
Wow.
So we've got a lot of, or they have a lot of commitments, and so a lot of weekends.
So you guys have a lot of
commitments. Yeah. I will say though, my wife and I are very intentional. Our kids, we don't use the term spoiled; they're well loved.
Okay.
Our kids are very well loved.
That's perfect.
But we prioritize us, and I'm a big believer in modeling, both professionally and personally, and so trying to model the right relationship and in our marriage, and so hopefully they create expectations of what they want, and so we prioritize date night every week, and then but we've got. We don't. They're not all drivers yet, so we've got a lot of carpools and a lot of games and whatnot.
Having a global responsibility, though. So how do you really find the time, though?
I really focus on priority management versus time management. We all have the same number of hours. Now, I'm fortunate that we wake up early and can go to bed kind of late when need to. So maybe I've got more hours than some based on that.
Yeah.
But I'm more focused on priority management than time management because I think you have clarity around your priorities. It's easier to say no to things that don't align with what your priorities are. Yeah. And so for me, I just have real clarity around what my priorities are professionally and personally. Yeah. And, don't always make the right decision.
We're all allowed to be human, right?
Yeah. But I think with that sort of perspective and focus, just having crystal clear around what is the priorities in your life, it's just easier to execute with the time that you have.
Yeah. Is there a favorite family thing to do? Like, I know you got jet skis, right?
We've got jet skis. We're big outdoor water people. My wife and I love to hike, but we love being on the lake. We do a lot of. We live in Gig Harbor, Washington, so we do a lot of paddle boarding. Sometimes my wife and I will start the morning that way, grab our coffee, and go for a paddle before the work day, and so just trying to enjoy the outdoors. And again, I think the age of our kids, the season is, and we've told them all, we expect you to be busy all year round,
right?
Or you're working. Now, none of them want to work yet, so they're busy all year round.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Jason, what's one life lesson you're most passionate about passing down to the kids that has nothing to do with real estate?
I hope, and we're because we have 5 daughters, really focused on equipping our girls to be independent, strong, productive women. Yeah. I mean, that's my sole mission in life, is just create opportunities for them and instill the work ethic to be strong, independent women. Yeah. And if we achieve that, then all's good. I think, and it's really interesting now with our oldest in college and kind of a career, in the near future. It's and people talk about this all the time. Find your passion. I mean, it's, and I think that's really what I want for all 5 of our girls is really have a clear visualization of what you're passionate about and just attack it.
Yeah.
And think big, I mean, and dream big. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
And,
it is. Why not?
No limits, that sort of, I obviously am from the Pacific Northwest and, grew up in Oregon. Nike country, Just Do It is obviously a popular and well-known company out there. But I think there's, so many folks, and I'm guilty of it too in the past, have these limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And I don't want our girls to have any limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
I mean, they can achieve anything that they want, but I hope that they find what they're passionate about and just really attack it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you do.
Yeah.
So I hear you have a twin brother.
I do.
All right.
Yeah.
Fraternal or identical?
We're fraternal twins. He's 5 minutes older. My parents did not know they were having twins until he was already delivered.
Oh my God.
And as they tell the story, my brother is delivered, and they hear the doc say, "Uh-oh." That's not really what you want to hear from your doctor after you just delivered your child. And my parents were like, "What's that mean?" They're like, and the doc said, "You got another one in there." And so that's when they found out they were having twins. So
Wow.
he's 5 minutes older.
All right. So who's the more competitive one than that?
Oh, my brother is probably one of the nicest, if not the nicest human beings that I know. He's just a gentle soul, has no mean bone in his body, and I got all of the A plus personality. It was really interesting growing up. So I'm certainly the most competitive one, and in a lot of ways was unhealthy competitive, as a youngster.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. We've had one fight in our whole life. When we're 51 years old, and it was when we were in high school, and he locked himself in the bathroom, so I didn't get to him. That was smart.
Yeah.
But because we had such complementing personalities, so when I was getting all amped up, he'd be like, "Hey, you got to calm down or cool your jets a little bit."
Right.
And when I needed him to step up, I was like, "You need to pick it up." I mean, so we just had these complementing personalities, and I think why we've enjoyed a healthy relationship because of it. But to answer your question, I got all of that.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so you're walking up to a stage convention. What's your walk-up song?
Eminem, "Lose Yourself."
Okay.
Because I love the intro, and it talks a lot about if you had one shot, one opportunity.
Yeah.
Would you seize it or let it slip?
Yeah.
And that's just my mentality around anything that I do.
All right, so a big part of what we do is giving back. There's a very charitable culture within the American Homes, and I know the whole Coldwell Banker family. So Coldwell Banker has a massive partnership with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Yeah.
Why is that specific cause so close to the brand's heart and to yours personally?
Yeah, well, first of all, I applaud you and your organization for really the commitment you've made giving back to your communities. I mean, that is what we should do, and so I applaud you and your team for that.
We got a great team, and they really lean into it, so I give them all the credit.
Yeah, and we should. I mean, we're blessed in terms of what we do and what we've achieved, and we probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the communities that we live and work in.
Right.
This relationship with St. Jude predates me, so I don't really know the history, how the two organizations come together. But what I will say is it is a transformational experience. If you've ever had the opportunity to visit Memphis and visit St. Jude, it is, if it doesn't bring you to tears, I question the soul and heart. The work that they do, and to think that no family gets a bill. Right. I mean, that's astonishing.
One of the things I always pay attention with a charity that we align with is I always look at the percentage of the money that goes to helping people.
Yeah.
And if they're too heavy with administrative, whatever miscellaneous, it bugs me. I want to see the money go where it needs to go.
Yeah.
And St. Jude's historically has had a fantastic ratio.
Yeah.
So it's a shout out to them because they run it efficiently, and it really means that when you're making those contributions, it's getting to the people that need the help the
100%.
most. So in your view, what is the most important way a global real estate brand can support the local communities where its agents live and work?
Well, I look again at our business as a real partnership, and ultimately, how can we continue to support and equip our real estate professionals, whether it's broker owners and or agents, with all the resources that they need to be successful. If we do that together, we're going to do well financially, which then allows us to create opportunities and give back to the communities. So as long as we continue to make the right investments and equip our customers and business partners with everything that they need to be successful professionally, we just have it within this network to then ultimately give back to the communities that we live and work in.
Yeah, no, that's very true, very true. So you often speak about focusing on what you can control.
Yeah.
How do you use that mindset to encourage agents to give back even when the market's tough?
Well, this business, and we know it, real estate's very cyclical.
Yeah.
Now the challenge or opportunity for all professionals in any industry is, how do you mitigate the peaks and valleys, right? And so just have sustained success. And I think it boils down to control your controllables. Again, if you can't impact or influence an outcome, don't give it any time or attention. Right? And so only give time and attention to the things that you can influence or impact. And if you do, you'll have sustained business. And if you got sustained business, you're going to have resources to then give back to the communities that you live and work in. And you asked a question earlier in our episode. What are some traits or one trait that you see in these top producers? Community involvement and volunteerism is a common thread across all top producers. They all do it. And it's not just because I want to get more referrals and more leads so I can do more transactions. They have a real compassion and empathy for the communities and causes in the communities that they live and work.
Do you think that's because real estate really at its heart is a service business?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So, well, Jason, it's really been a great interview, and I really appreciate you sharing so much insight into our industry, and that's really that's the heart of what we get at on this podcast.
It's time for the Drop the Mic question.
Before we do the drop the mic question, I just want to remind our audience, if you like what we're doing here, we'd love to have you like and subscribe and join us for future episodes. So, Jason, we have a time machine. You sent back to 1906 to meet Colbert Colwell and Arthur Banker. You're going to only show them one piece of 2026 technology. What are you picking?
The cell phone.
Okay.
It's really interesting. I've got a broker in mind, and he's later in his career, probably 50 years in the business, is convinced the cell phone has changed everything in real estate. And when you think about these compact little devices, we can manage our entire lives through them. I mean, we can pay bills like that. We can stay connected like that. It's been transformational. Probably a lot like the generation that had TV for the first time.
Right.
You start thinking about some of these advances, and maybe that this little device that has really allowed us to manage our personal lives, our professional lives, is really kind of astonishing.
It's amazing how much power we have in the palm of our hands in all essence. So just a quick twist on the follow-up on this one. What's the one piece of real estate jargon you wish you could ban from the industry forever?
Back to the basics. I don't like that term for some reason. I can't even tell you, Mike, what about that I don't like. Maybe it's just because it's used so frequently. Now, the message behind that is absolutely right. Like, it's about people. It's about relationships. It's about connecting with people. And those that have more connections and deeper connections tend to do more business. I think back to the basics is just maybe too vague for me. And I like to be very more specific and intentional about what it is that we need to invest our time in. But back to the basics. I'm like, you know.
I tend to refer to fundamentals because I think fundamentals are important, but fundamentals aren't always basic. Maybe that's what's bugging you.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's funny. I didn't think about that until you mentioned. Then it's rolling around my brain. I'm like, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and it's almost like some people use it. You know, they heard it from someone else and it sounds catchy, but it's hollow to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what I'm a substance personality.
Yeah.
You know, I need the details and specific action items to execute against.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Well, Jason, I know it's been a long commute to get here. 3,000 miles away, and I really appreciate you taking the time to meet us and our audience here. You've been a great interview, and thank you so much for being part of our show.
Mike, it's my pleasure. You're a great leader, a great business partner. I'm honored to call you a friend as well.
Yes.
And thank you for having me on your show. It was great to see you in person, and look forward to continued success together.
Absolutely.
Take care.